The college football experience, UAB Blazers 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. They just dropped college football best ball. Oh yeah, we're excited about it. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Pac-Man Jones. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the UAB Blazers 2024 season preview episode. It is year 2 of the Trent Dilfer era in Birmingham, there at their new stadium that I like to call Penetrobe Stadium. Look, big year. I mean, last season I don't think went exactly as he planned, but there was, with any coaching change, a lot of transfer portal, losses, gains. So continuity is an issue. Year 2, can you turn the page? YouTube.com/the college experience as we're breaking down all 134 teams in the land. Looking forward to diving in on UAB's offense, defense, special teams to go game by game on the schedule. But before we do that, I want to tell you that you are listening to the college football experience. And my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, AKA Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, tailless pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
That's what the UAB fans say when Memphis is on the schedule. Old rivalry renewed. I've always wanted to be called lemon-headed. Without it scripted. Like, someone could then call me lemon-headed. Not listening to this show, but I'm talking about 100% out there in the world. I'm parking in someone's parking spot, and they call me a lemon-headed bastard or something. I don't know, but lemon-headed, underrated term that I'd be curious to know the history of that story on how the first person was called lemon-headed. I'm excited to talk Trent Dilfer and UAB Blazer football because some say he's lemon-headed, some say he's not lemon-headed. One of my favorite quotes from Trent Dilfer over the past 15 years. Where do we go? Let me see if I can quickly find this thing. Is where am I at here? Man, here we go.
Modern day game does not impress me. It's super easy when you don't get hit as a quarterback and when you can't reroute receivers and when you can't hit guys across the middle. I love Tom Brady. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love these guys. It's not impressive. What's impressive is what they did.
I mean, I get his point, but I wouldn't say those things if I'm about to coach a team. There's an easier way to make the point, I think, and just saying that you to say that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady don't impress you. I think they impress me, but I would say it's a little more offense friendly today, and you don't have to really worry about your receivers getting laid out. I think that's the point he was trying to make. Hilarious from that ESPN documentary. I am joined by my co-host. You've heard him on the NBA Gambling Podcast. You've heard him on the MLB Gambling Podcast, and he's writing a ton of great college football articles over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And you've heard him here on a couple previews here. Give it up for Latte Smith. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. The UAB Blazers, home of one of my favorite underrated receivers, Roddy White. Oh, man, was he great in the slot in Atlanta. Oh, man, was he great in the slot. Oh, yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. I just wish that, the coaching staff was a little bit better to kind of uplift the team. They could have did, my guy Bill a little bit better with the staff, especially last year. But, looking forward to it. They got a year two step is always – year two is always a stepping stone for, the first year coaches, unless you're coming into a dumpster fire where it's kind of a year zero. But I think this is a true year two effect for Trent Dilfer. So I'm looking forward to see, what he does with it. And I think the most interesting thing is that he comments about his wife a lot in his press conferences. It says she can't cook. She used to not be good looking, but now she is good looking. An interesting guy.
It's a bold.
You ever heard that? You ever heard him say?
I don't think I have, but that's bold territory right there to say.
I'll say that to you.
Please do. But look, that hire. Let's talk about that for a second, because I got nothing against Trent Dilfer. Won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Was a top draft pick out of Fresno State. Played for my guy Jeff Tedford, who I just did an interview with not that long ago. It was just out of left field. You know what I mean? Like that, okay, so you had Bill Clark, who stayed with this program through the dark years when they actually got rid of the football program, stayed as their head coach to fight the good fight, brought it back, had a big influence on bringing it back. And then, obviously he had some health problems after, great success. And then his offensive coordinator, Brian Vincent, takes over for a year. Didn't necessarily have the same success, but still had a solid season. And they decided to go a different route and bring in Trent Dilfer. Now, I was a bit dumbfounded just because I was not expecting Trent Dilfer to get this gig. I thought maybe he would get an FCS gig first. Mm-hmm. You see it right now. Like Eddie George didn't have any high school experience. He's the head coach of Tennessee State. So it was surprising to me. It was very surprising to me. And look, I'm going to throw up a graphic here, youtube.com/the college experience. He played under a lot of greats. He's 4-8 in his first season as a head coach. Jim Sweeney was a very good head coach for him when he was a player at Fresno State, and Jeff Tedford was his OC. And then when he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he had Sam Weiss, who historically was a very good coach. And then Tony Dungy, and then Brian Billick and Mike Holmgren. So he's had some, but that was as a player. I know you're retaining a lot of that. His offensive coordinator is Chris Mortensen's son, Alex Mortensen, had a pretty good first year. And then his DC is Seone Tuafo. I'm trying. But I still can't help but think random hire. There was a lot of more qualified people, in my opinion, where I sit there and say, and I have nothing against Trent. He seems like a nice guy, good guy, but I'm just like, why should he get this opportunity without really, just because he played quarterback in the NFL for so long? I know he was a high school coach, but not for long. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Why should you get this opportunity is my point. Why don't you feel like, look, I talk college football year round here on the College Football Experience. And this would be to me, someone offering me a head coaching job. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit of difference. Yeah. Let's go. Right. It was out of left field to me. What'd you make of that hire in general? Maybe it works out. I'm just saying it was completely not what I like. I had a list of 5 guys that I thought they were going to call. Trent Dilfer. I never even had the thought of that they would hire Trent Dilfer. Am I crazy here?
No, I completely agree with you. Does he have any ties to the school at all?
No.
So I was trying to look at that to see if he had, his wife or brothers, cousins.
Maybe he knew the athletic director. I don't know, but
that's the only thing I could think of. Because I thought Vincent was a shoo-in to get it.
Me
I
too.
thought he was I thought he was a shoo-in to get the job. I mean, and like you said, maybe it works. But I just thought it was odd to hire a guy with no experience, similar to what the Colts did with Jeff Saturday last year. Just put him as the inner. Like, why would you? It's so many other coaches out here. Why would you not promote like somebody within your organization? Jeff Saturday never coached a day of football in his life. So, and now, so I thought it was weird. Maybe they just wanted to, be out of left field, and they go and get Alex Mortensen, who never called a play in his life, to call the offense. And actually that was, pretty much the strong suit of the team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the numbers they put up actually pretty encouraging for year one, but I mean, I just wonder, they basically didn't go with Brian Vincent. I think Vincent went 6-6. Yep. It's going to be interesting to see if they can do that this year, because in a way, I wonder, they'll probably give him 3 years, to get a winning season if he doesn't have a winning season this year. But it's very intriguing. Folks, you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And SGP, yes, the Sports Gambling Podcast, just launched their 32-team NFL team preview series. We know that new NFL kickoff is just absolutely horrible. But don't worry, there's still money to be made in the NFL. And as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase at the at the end of all those episodes, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. All right, we are back. Yeah, Dilfer, it's going to be interesting. Year two. You look back at last season. I don't know. Can you put your finger on this? Like, where did that they had no wins against decent teams with the exception of South Florida. Right. And that one just came completely out of left field. They dropped 56 on South Florida. Like, I mean, they gave up pretty much a ton of points to everybody, but that was the most shocking one there was that, and this team, if you throw out the A&T game, which by the way, don't mean to rub it in there. Latte is
we got a couple of players that's doing well in ACC and
that's
other
true.
Places.
That's true. Vatech, right?
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah.
But I mean, so the only wins were at FCS, South Florida, which actually was a good win, and then Florida Atlantic with their starting quarterback out, they won by 3. And then Temple, they won by 10. So it's like, I don't know how encouraging it was. Now their schedule was challenging. I mean, they played the Georgia Bulldogs, they played Georgia Southern, Louisiana. Those are decent bowl teams. Tulane, obviously really good. UTSA really good. Memphis really good. But North Texas got them. Wasn't a great team last year. Navy just beat the piss out of them, 31-6. I don't know, like year one, it's year one. So, I mean, I don't read too much into it, but I would have liked a little more signs if I'm a UAB Blazer fan. And by the way, shout out to my guy, welcome to UAB, who I think is, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he's thinking the same as me, saying, I wish we could have seen a little more like indicators that say this hire could work out. We'll see how it is with year two. We do this exercise for every single, group of 5 team. What is the best win in UAB since pretty much their history, since the turn of the century? Lante, the Blazers here, they didn't play football for 3 seasons. The program, or 4 seasons, the program went away. Still some impressive results in there. I think you mentioned Roddy White. He might have been on that team that beat LSU at LSU. And that was a Saban coach team, I think, if memory serves me correct. 13-10 at Baton Rouge. I mean, the other wins here are great at Mississippi State, sure, but it's got to be the LSU one, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I think that was that Saban team. If I can remember correctly, I want to say that UAB actually was low key dominant in that game. Like they just did whatever they wanted. I mean, obviously the score doesn't indicate that, but I think they had
dictated the pace of that game, right?
Yeah. So I think that absolutely is the number one win with an asterisk beside it. I don't think anything else is close to that. I mean, in Baton Rouge, people don't go in Baton Rouge and win.
I know.
SEC teams don't go in Baton Rouge and win games against LSU. So I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, we are going to preview the UAB offense heading into this season. But before we do that, I do want to mention that the college football experience is brought to you by Game Time. Yes, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, with killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So what are you doing? Take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. And this works for football too. If you're planning to go out to a game there at Protective Stadium or whatever, what are you doing? Bust out the app. It's going to save you some bucks. So create that account and use that redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your purchase. Essentially, download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries and then go streaking. If you can go on an 11-0 run, you can win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. They just added another college football contest for best ball. We just dropped an episode regarding this. Get on over there. I'm so glad we finally have college football best ball. Thank you, Underdog, for finally doing this. You can now use specials and boost as well on all flexed entries. So sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back talking UAB football here. The offense a season ago, 49th in scoring per game, top 50 offense. Unbelievable work for a first time OC there in college, and Alex Mortensen. Also top 20 in yards, 18th in yards, 450 yards per game, 18th in passing, top 20 passing offense at almost 289 yards per game. And 60th in rushing. All of those stats are top 7 in the AAC. Very impressive first year for Mortensen and Dilfer on the offensive side of the ball. Which one jumps out to you most there? Is it just it's kind of a little bit of everything with the passing, right?
Yeah, I think everything does. I mean, because going in, I was expecting a disaster. I'm not going to lie to you, because first time play caller, first time coach at this level, I was expecting nothing but disaster. But the way they kind of dictated the offense and got things going and were able to score pretty much at will on anybody, I thought it was impressive. And I'm interested to see, can they build on that? Or now that teams know kind of their tendencies and what to prepare for, will they not be able to adjust? So I'm interested to see, that aspect of it. But as far as those numbers, first year, definitely surprising.
Yeah, very encouraging there. They returned 6 starters on offense. Jacob Zeno, former Baylor Bear quarterback, is back as well. That's encouraging. And then their receiver, Amare Thomas, who I think has got a promising career ahead of him. Bryce Dumas, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Back at the tight end spot, 3 of 5 on the O-line back. I mean, I kind of think 6, nowadays you do this 5 years ago, 6 is now you're 6. All right. I can buy into this offense being good. Yeah. I will buy into this offense being good yet again. If anything, maybe even a little bit better with returning your quarterback. I always feel like you see it. I mean, you don't have to look far. Last season, Penix's second year with Washington, Nick's second year at Oregon, I think Zeno, this might be his 3rd year, but it's his 2nd year at Dilfer. And I think that is encouraging. So I tend to think this offense could be better, but let's see what they did in the portal. They did lose some guys. All right. The portal gives, the portal takes. Kentucky going in there and grabbing a wide out, and same with Cincinnati, as well as Jacksonville State and Rich Rodriguez. Tevin Curry also heads out to Bryant Vincent, who's now at ULM, who's on the schedule, might I add. Should be an intriguing matchup there. not a lot of huge losses though, right? I mean, I get it, those receivers, but okay. They added some talent too, and I actually think they won the portal on offense because Armani Goodwin, if he can stay healthy, coming over from LSU, and this backfield I think is very encouraging. Assuming Goodwin can stay healthy with Isaiah Jacobs, and they also have Lee Beebe, I think it's a pretty good backfield that could put up some decent numbers there. They also bring in Yusef Terry from the South Florida Bulls, who beat last year. Jack Nickel, a tight end from Michigan State, and then on the O line, you gotta like this, going out to get Caleb Perez from Duke. Look, Mike Elko had a good eye for talent, so I just tend to value those transfers out of Duke. John Darius Morgan from South Carolina comes in, and then a couple of FCS transfers. Sometimes these FCS transfers are sneaky good. DJ Jones is projected to start after coming over from the Murray State Racers. I think they won the portal on offense. How about you?
Yeah, overall, I think they did a good job. Definitely like shoring up that offensive line because they were horrible last year. As far as I think they allowed 4.1 tackles for loss a game. I think 2.25 sacks. So they weren't good, especially in conference play. And I think that depth wasn't there. The receivers, like losing the receivers, I think doesn't matter in this offense because they run the kind of offense that you can just kind of plug and play. And it did have a receiver who actually had a big game in the preseason today. I forgot his name, but he was there last year. He had a really big game. I think like over 100 yards. But yeah, I think overall just a pretty meaningful additions, especially with the offensive line depth because they're going to need it with this schedule of defenses that they're going to face.
Was it Palmer?
Palmer, yeah. Yeah, he had a big game.
Tawan Palmer,
today. Yep.
I think this offense will be better than a year ago. Now we'll see what the schedule brings, but I think the offense will be better. Defensively, whew.
Oh my God.
Someone passed me the bottle of whiskey just to read this. I need a whiskey. 127th in scoring per game, giving up just about 37 points a game. That's almost hard to do. But they weren't dead last, which is unbelievable in a way. 13th in conference out of 14, 116th in yards, giving up a little over 435 yards per game. 88th in pass defense, and this one here, man, they were a bottom 10 rush defense, giving up 197.1 yards per game. Okay, let's see what they're bringing back here. 3 starters and a punter, Patrick Foley. Is that to quote? Is that fucking Foley in here? Yes, he is here. To quote the great Beverly Hills Cop. 2 on the defensive line: Kevin Penn and Desmond Little. Linebacker Michael Moore. Hopefully, he's cooler than the other Michael Moore. Remember when Michael Moore projected that football would be over in like 10 years or something? 20 years. Yeah. I love how, yeah. Anyway, I could go in a spiel. I remember Meryl Streep on like, they're like the Oscar night. She's like she's throwing football under the bus saying like, yeah, it's good to know people aren't doing this and beating their brains in football. Yeah. Meanwhile, every fucking Hollywood producer is just like, running prostitution rings and visiting Epstein Island. But yeah. Fucking great stuff over there, Meryl and Michael. All right. And I say this as someone who lives in Los Angeles. I know your dirty little fucking secrets. All right. 3 starters back. If the defense was ass, get him out of there. That's one way to look at it. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. I like Penn though. Penn is pretty good up front, but I mean, he's going to need some help. But like you said, if they weren't good, then get them out of there. But then you're bringing in new guys. They're learning a new system, unproven talent in your system, in a conference that, has a decent amount of, high-powered offenses, especially like throwing the ball, and they don't have anybody back in the secondary. That's kind of concerning. But I think
that was what's surprising is like their corners were actually like sought after.
Right. How can you even tell if they were good? They gave up like 40 points a game.
Maybe they got so many reps that it was just like I don't know.
Maybe they just look good in the spreadsheet. A lot of teams, a lot of players look good in spreadsheets.
Looking at that, what I'm referring to is BJ Mays goes off to Texas A&M and Mac McWilliams heading out to UCF. Both their corners going to good schools.
McWilliams is actually okay. McWilliams is actually he graded out okay. Yeah, he graded out okay.
I mean, even Reese Collier at the linebacker spot. I mean, Ohio won like 10 games last year. So I mean, all right, ULM and Carl Fontree going to Brian Vincent at ULM as well. They're on the schedule. No one on their D line. Everyone hit the portal, and none of them have been. At least I know it's hard to track this stuff. I'm not trying to shit on these kids, but at the same time, they haven't landed anywhere that we know. They did go out. They were aggressive in the portal. They brought in a shit ton of players, which I think is encouraging. A slew of Power 5 players too. And OC Brothers was a very good player at Purdue, or pretty good player at Purdue. So 4 guys on the D line: DeMarcus Smith from Ole Miss, Odin Jor from Ja Tech, Ladarius Cox from Indiana, Derek Shepard from the Cincinnati Bearcats. And then, in the secondary, getting a couple guys from Youngstown State, a really good FCS. I feel like we did a show yesterday where what's going on in Youngstown? They're just all their DBs are just leaving.
Yeah. That was the best one. The one that we talked about yesterday for USF.
Yeah. Which preview was that?
That was USF.
Yeah. South Florida. Sarad Bryant also coming in from Georgia Tech, as well as Tariq Watson from Minnesota. I mean, a slew of Donald Lee from Grambling. Adrian Maddox from Alabama State, the Hornets there. I'm going to say, I know they lost their corners. I think this is encouraging. I think they won the portal. What would you say here?
Yeah, I think with that defense, you gotta, obviously some of these Power 4 players coming in, you would think would be an upgrade, but they're kind of unproven. So they're stepping down a level. So maybe we saw players who couldn't do much or get on the field at certain schools come down a level and kind of dominate or be better. So I'm expecting that. I think if the continuity is there, they only can get better. I don't think they can get any worse. So yeah, I think overall is a plus, a slight win.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Before we get to the win total and the odds to win the championship and go game by game on the schedule, want to tell you the UAB Blazer 2024 season preview is brought to you by Rhythm. Football season is obviously here, and college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model, or if you don't want to do that, you can let Rhythm do all the heavy lifting for you. But either way, your options are there. You decide what stats matter most to you, and then Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or you can just sit back, crack a cold one, and let Rhythm do everything on its own for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists and quants. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. I like Georgia Tech plus 13 in Dublin, Ireland against Florida State. Gonna jump on that one. So claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. If you haven't been to the Circa in Vegas, well, you are missing out. That is heaven for sports. Derek Steve is doing an unbelievable job there. Circa Sports, though, is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. If you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football season, may I recommend the Ultimate Contest Weekend. It's a great time to go out. You can hang with my pals, Stacking the Money Green and Real Money Kramer of the Sports Gambling Podcast, as well as CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August 24th. Use the promo code SGP15 as well to save you 15% off your hotel room that weekend. But you do want to sign up at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. That's when the NFL kicks off with that bullshit kickoff that I was alluding to. And use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. All right, we are back on the college football experience, UAB Blazer style. I liked it when that athletic director said he was trying to get a Komodo dragon. Because I'm not the biggest fan of fictional mascots. You know what I mean? Like, just doesn't really do it for me. Like the Toronto Raptors. I mean, even though that's not even fictional, I guess we have proof of that one, but still, that I'm not on board really. Washington Wizards. You know what I mean? Like, no.
I feel you.
You know, like, so I was kind of always a skeptic of the Blazer here, the Dragon. Remind me of the XFL team, even though UAB was way before it. But then he started talking about trying to get a Komodo dragon on the sidelines, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm sleeping on this mascot a little bit. Now, of course, they didn't let him bring the Komodo dragon because of what their saliva can kill you, I think. But either way, I appreciated the thinking outside the box that the athletic director in Birmingham, Alabama, was doing by considering this. I still think you can set something up where maybe the Komodo dragon could be in like a glass box with some holes so it can breathe. And then you're still okay. Like maybe the spit, maybe you could do something where the spit can't get out. I don't know.
Until it kills somebody, let's try it.
Yeah. I mean, look, you got alligators eating people at Disneyland. You know what I mean? Or Disney World.
Sharks eating people on the beach.
That's what I'm saying. We take this risk every day. People still swim in the damn ocean, right? People still go to Disney World, right? Yeah. What are we doing here? Get the Komodo dragon on the sidelines. You don't even need the container. Just tie him to the goalpost. All right, let's go. That was one of my favorite moments, is that he was actually trying to get a Komodo dragon. I appreciate that. The win total is sitting at 6.5 wins. Whoo! Bowling? Trent Dilfer bowling? The juice on this too is intriguing, because I do believe, as I quickly check my notes, but they're plus 3,000 to win the AAC. But look, they are plus 125 to the over, minus 145 to the under. So Vegas is saying slight lean to 6-6. I think 6-6 is more likely than 7-5, but not by much. Plus 20,000 to make the 12-team playoff, and plus 200,000 to win the national championship. I was a bit surprised at this number when I first saw it. How about you?
Yeah, a little bit. And then you kind of dive into scheduling spots, and then kind of when they play certain teams. Like for instance, they get Navy and Tulsa off the bye, like we were talking about before the show. And then the games that you typically probably weren't going to win, they're on the road. So it's nice to get those coin flip games at home. So I kind of understand it to a certain degree, but again, it kind of depends. It kind of depends on your perception of what you think Trent Dilfer and the offense will do, how improved will the defense be, and things of that nature. So I think the win total is probably just about right. I'm leaning like 6-6 is more likely than 7-5, I think. And if you're really, optimistic, some people think 8 wins is, the ceiling for him. But I mean, I don't know. I think this is a win total that has a wide range of outcomes.
Yeah, I need to see it for a guy that's never coached college football besides 1 year. I need to see it, but let's jump into it. Week 1 on a Thursday night, Alcorn State. The Braves are coming to town. And by the way, ignore the number. I keep forgetting to do the number on the right that I was doing for a long time, where I power rank the teams, but I just keep forgetting. I build the slate. I forget. There'll be 1-0.
Yeah.
And then a big one here is they head to Monroe, Louisiana to take on ULM. Bryant Vincent, the coach of ULM, they chose Trent Dilfer essentially over Bryant Vincent. I think Vincent's walking into a little more of a disaster, but it's got to be a little bit personal. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you can't avoid that. It's like, I don't care where you're working at Target, you get fired, you get fired for another guy or something. You're going to be sitting there like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm better than this guy, I still think UAB's team is better right now, though. It is on the road though, but I got UAB 2-0. How about you?
Yeah, do give me the points with ULM though. I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at UAB. If they can cut off those, if the key to stopping them, if they can cut off the dink and dunk type stuff, because they run the same. I mean, obviously it's not the same athletes, but similar to what Bo Nix in Oregon ran last year. It's a lot of short stuff, a lot of tunnel screens, a lot of crossing routes and mesh concepts. So if a team can be aggressive and kind of stop them and make them stretch the field, it can be an issue. And I think Vincent kind of knows what that team wants to do, and I'm pretty sure he's been looking forward to this game all season long.
Yeah.
He's been prepping for this all season long.
I'll take the points too.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go. Back-to-back away as they head to Fayetteville, Arkansas. I think it's Fayetteville. It might be Little Rock. They always do that one game in Little Rock. To take on Sam Pulled Pork Pittman and Bobby Road Rash Face Petrino, who's back at the scene of the crime there in Fayetteville. I got him losing this one, 2-1. How about you?
Yeah, I do too. I think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. A lot of points are going to be scored in this game.
They get a bye week, and I think this bye week was probably constructed. I don't think this is random. I think they probably asked for this bye week before Navy, after the way Navy beat the shit out of them last year. They are home versus Navy. 2 weeks to prep. It's hard to take UAB after the way they got dominated, but I do like the bye week. All right, I'll say this. Between this and UConn later on the schedule, I'll give them a win.
I'm with you. But I like UAB in this spot. I think, having that 2 week prep time for Navy, especially sitting on that loss, that 31-6 loss for a year, I think they'll be ready to go. That'll be their first conference home game. Alcorn State is, not a real opponent. I mean, no disrespect to them, but just not a formidable opponent. So I think Navy, I think UAB will have a nice crowd going for the first AAC home game. So I like them to get a win here. So I got them at 3-1.
It's funny. We had Bud Foster on the show a couple times, and we'd always ask him. He hated the game after the triple option, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he hated the game, the prep before the triple option, but he said also the backside of that is tough. Tulane is in a nice spot there. I got Tulane grabbing that win, and I got them moving to 3-2. How about you?
Yep, completely agree. I think that's coming off, and I don't know if it'll be an emotional win, but I don't think I don't think it'll be easy. I think it'll be hard fought, especially having to deal with Navy and their you got to be disciplined, and then you're coming back off of that after 2 weeks of prep, going into another physical Tulane team who's going to be more balanced. So yeah, I think Tulane gets it done. I got them 3-2.
Then they head to West Point, Mikey Stadium, one of the best stadiums. You haven't gone, you got to get out to Mikey Stadium. I got them losing this, man. Their run defense was horrible last year, and you're playing a team that can really run the ball. I also think they have a legit home field advantage. And I don't know how cold it will be in West Point by then. It'll be like brisk a little bit, but just the fact that I think it's a good home field advantage. You're on the road, and I have seen no signs of your run defense improving. So I'll take Army to get that done. How about you?
Yep, I like Army in this spot as well. And I mean, it'll help being that they prep for Navy, so they won't have to do as much install. But I just think Army is, a little bit better than what Navy is as far as athlete to athlete. So I think Army gets it done, especially at home, like you mentioned. Great venue. Like I told you, I got a friend who's the athletic academic coordinator there. Really good guy. So shout out to my guy Eric.
There we go.
I think they get it done. I think they get it done. I think Army
Tyrell Robinson's a baller for Army.
Yeah, definitely.
Then they head to Raymond James Stadium to catch the South Florida Bulls. We already previewed South Florida. We took South Florida. So that puts them there sitting at 3-4 heading into the second bye week. They are hosting the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. I think we both are on opposite ends on the Golden Hurricane. I like what they have going in this year. I've already placed a wager on the over with Tulsa, and I got Tulsa going into Birmingham and getting that dub. How about you?
Yeah, I got UAB bouncing back after back-to-back losses and then going to the bye week a little bit frustrated. So I think they'll get back on track with Tulsa. I'm interested. Tulsa is a team that I'm lower on than most. I mean, especially I think than you. I mean, I like the coaching staff. I just like the quarterback situation. Like, what are they going to do at quarterback?
Lagasse from Utah State comes in.
Okay.
I think he'll fit that offense actually better than the. I mean, I did like the quarterback last year, but Wilson likes to throw it a little bit more, and I don't know that it fit exactly what he did at. He was the kind of the guy that won the most at Indiana.
Yeah. Tulsa is on a upward trajectory because if you look at their recruiting classes, they're improving every single year. I think they got one of the better recruiting classes in the AAC. So looking like going forward, I think they're going to progress. I just don't know about this year, but I like UAB in the spot.
Yeah, I got them losing, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me if UAB beats Tulsa. But the very next game, UConn, I'm kind of bullish on what Jim Mora has going. I told you I gave you the Navy game. I think UConn is going to go down here and win. I think they're a better football team right now. So, I once again wouldn't be shocked if UAB pulled the upset. But if we're going game by game on this, I'm like, I mean, we're giving them Navy. Navy dominated them a season ago. Mm-hmm. So give me UConn to get it done here. You got them beating the Huskies?
No, absolutely not. I'm really high on the Huskies. I think the Huskies can win like 8 games this year, borderline 8 games this year.
Yeah, I agree.
With their schedule set up, they brought a lot of power forward. I mean, obviously we don't want to turn this into the UConn preview, but yeah, I mean, I love the way that team is like going forward. So I think UConn comes in, gets a big win at UAB.
Yeah, so I still have them at 3 wins, and then they head to the Liberty Bowl to take on Memphis. I do expect a lot of points in this game. Take the over.
Absolutely.
But I think Memphis is just better on the line of scrimmage than UAB. So I will take Memphis to get it done. How about you?
Yep, I like Memphis. I mean, I just don't think that you can beat them at their own game. High octane offense. Memphis has a better offense. I think their defense. We talked about Memphis as well. I think their defense is going to be improved. I think Memphis, puts a smack down on them.
And then they're home to EJ Warner and the Rice Owls. I think Rice is a better football team than them right now. So I have Rice beating them. This one could be interesting. Maybe if they take a big step forward, this game becomes more winnable. But I think Rice is a solid team. So I think Rice is better than UAB on paper right now. I got the Rice Owls getting it done. How about you?
Yep, I like Rice as well. I was higher on them than the market coming in. I placed a wager on them probably like 2 months ago to even win the AAC. So I took a shot on them. But I think Rice better suited in the trenches, and I think that is the biggest weakness for UAB. And obviously, we talked about their secondary. I think EJ Warner will be able to exploit that, especially late in the year. Whenever I think it's better to get those new quarterbacks and new systems earlier. So he's already at week 11. So he'll be like tuned in. He's got everything, working for him. He knows what works, knows what doesn't. So I think Rice is going to come in and get a big win there.
And then they head to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on Biff Poggi and Charlotte. I think this is like a bad matchup for them. Am I crazy here? Cause I mean, if you're a bottom 10 run defense, Biff Poggi sees that, he circles that. He's like, okay, we'll go after that. I don't know. Maybe I'm bullish on Poggi, but I got Charlotte beating them. This is a 3-9 team, man. Like I said, maybe they get I don't know. Who do you got? Who do you got winning that season finale?
Yeah, I got UAB winning, but I think it'll be close. I'll definitely be taking the points with Charlotte. I'm interested to see how Charlotte's season shapes out early on and see if like some of those guys maybe like transfer out or like around Christmas time or if they aren't getting the results they want. I don't think they'll quit on Biff, but I'm interested to see the mindset. And I think UAB, this could come down to, I think I got them at 5. So this could come down to like bowl eligibility. So I think it'll be big. I think it'll be big for UAB. Charlotte, while I think is progressing in the right direction, not quite there yet. So I'll take UAB to get to bowl eligibility there.
Yeah, I like even Poggi's resume means more to me than Dilfer's, but that doesn't mean Dilfer can't be a good coach. I think it's a 3-9 team, man. I'm trying to say like best case scenario, maybe they get Tulsa and UConn and Rice and Charlotte, and I think best case scenario for me is like 7-5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think that the home games are coin flip. Like Tulsa, you get Tulsa, UConn, Navy, maybe depending on how people feel about Tulane.
But wouldn't you take all of those head coaches
Oh
ahead
yeah,
of Trent Dilfer?
absolutely. I might take Alcorn State's head coach over Trent Dilfer.
Well, McNair left, man, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I would probably too. He's probably got a better track record than, but what's the floor then? Because I actually think the floor is tricky here, man.
I think the floor is exactly where you have him at, like 3-9.
I got the floor at 1-11, man.
Oh Jesus! Oh, and just Alcorn State, because I can see them losing to ULM.
Well, just because of I think if the ULM if they didn't have Bryant Vincent, I would say okay, 2-10's the floor, but that's a game where like I think you're trying to prove something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel pretty decent about 3-9 or 4-8. And I think you will hear this on a locks episode from me. I will bet the heck out of this under. Yeah, I'm going to bet this actually when I was doing my prep for this. So right after this episode, I will go and bet this. Are you going to bet this one at all?
I'm going to stay away. But I mean, I just think it's a wide range. I would like, if I could find like an alt number, I would probably take like under like 4.5 for like plus money. Just thinking that, the range of outcomes is much more wider than taking 6.5. And I think it's juice under, so I don't want to pay that kind of juice. Because I mean, I think it is a world where they can win 7 if things, go right. So I mean, I think even you said the ceiling is like 7 and 5. So
they just got to win every 50-50 game. But to me, like you got to get a lot better on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
to me, true. Like, I don't know. Like when I think of getting Charlotte, Army, and Navy as your like winnable games, those 3 rushing attacks, if you're not better at rush defense, will fuck you up this year, in my opinion. Like, so they really need to get that resolved before those games. But yeah, excited to watch it. I feel pretty good about this. I'm curious to know people's thoughts. But yeah, I am going to bet this because I don't think there's any chance in hell they're getting 7. I said best case scenario, winning every one of these games. And to me, like I said, like it goes like in a toss up game. You think if you're listening to this and you're saying, hey, well, UConn, they haven't been good, but Jim Mora is like a proven good coach to me, right?
100%.
Yeah,
I mean the talent level that they have on both sides of the ball, like coming in, and what they already had. They're a physical team too. They got 2 great running backs that are going to run the ball. They can rotate. They got a physical offensive line. They just put an offensive lineman in NFL, and he's probably going to be in the rotation in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, and you're sitting there like, man, this is until I'm proven otherwise. I don't know. I would have every coach on the schedule ranked higher than Trent Dilfer. So it's like, am I really going to back a coach that, we've never seen a track record of? Like, say what you want. The Tulsa coach, Kevin Wilson, he was part of Oklahoma staff when they won national championships. You know what I mean? Or played for national championships. He did a great job as a head coach at Indiana.
He can recruit that state too.
Yeah. Biff Poggi was part of Jim Harbaugh's staff at Michigan. Now that doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be a winner. What's my guy's name at Rice? He was with David Shaw at Stanford for 10 years. Bloomgren, right?
Yep.
I mean, I just think there's a lot to prove to me. I'll take the under. I feel pretty good about it. Folks, make sure you give Lante a follow on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it at Lante XX, and make sure you check out all of his articles on college football sports gambling podcast.com. Also check him out on the MLB gambling podcast. We're inching closer and closer to the World Series, and Lante, always great talking ball there. And also the NBA gambling podcast. And anything else you want to plug?
Nah, man, that's it. I'm just trying to be everywhere I can be to make a difference and, voice my opinion. Hopefully it's a profitable opinion, and I appreciate you having me on. Anytime, folks. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The college football experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. So please follow those, and youtube.com/the college experience. That's the hub for all of our stuff for the college football experience. Obviously get on over there. The college basketball experience. We talk college basketball year round there. The college baseball experience. College baseball is a growing sport in this country more and more. The Stadium Heads podcast. We actually love Protective Stadium.
We did a deep dive on it. A lot of people think we only like the older stadiums. Not true. We like a lot of the new stadiums. McLean Stadium at Baylor, Protective Stadium, UAB. I think they did a great job with that thing. So check out the Stadium Heads podcast where we talk about college football stadiums and the history of the sport of college football over there. And yeah, check out the Sports Gambling podcast. And yeah, it's football season. Let's go. I can't wait to see if I'm right or wrong on this. But I feel pretty damn good about it. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience, UAB Blazer style. Let's get that Komodo dragon. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot.